Welcome back into the Sports Source, the segment of our program brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. Whether you own the biggest construction company in the state or you're just starting your first do-it-yourself home improvement project, the place to turn for top-notch, affordable building materials and tools, that's A.G. Hines Company. For more than 100 years, they've been serving East Tennessee. Find out why. Find out for yourself how a company survives more than 100 years. How do you find out? You get down to A.G. Hines Company this week. They're located, appropriately enough, on Hines Street, right in downtown Knoxville. A.G. Hines Company, aghines.com. All right, take a look here at 24/7. It's amazing. We now live in a world with actual rankings, recruiting rankings, and now you have to have transfer portal rankings. But 24/7 Sports has the portal rankings here. You see where these SEC schools are ranked nationally on the left, and then in parentheses is the number of guys they are bringing in. Ole Miss and LSU, 14 players Brian Kelly and Lane Kiffin have brought in. You talk about completely redoing your roster, and that's getting back to what David was talking about. Those are guys who were higher level guys. Those weren't guys who were simply, okay, I'm going to be third on the depth chart, I got to get out of here. 14 each. You go down the list, you see Tennessee with 5. Some of those guys are going to be preferred walk-on type stuff, so you're not even talking about top level. But 77 out of 77th in the country. They rank 12th out of the 14 teams in the SEC, and the only teams behind them are Texas A&M and Georgia, who really don't need to go into the portal. My question for you guys is, we'll start with this because it's going to kind of place your second answer. First question, it looked like Tennessee was going to try and stay under 85. They're going to self-impose more limits. There's rumors that they're going to get out there and dig around in the portal a little bit more. Do you think they're going to get more toward the 85-man limit this year?
I do. Yeah, I think they will. Look, they self-imposed the 12 scholarships, and that slowed them down as far as bringing in people at midterm. They couldn't go over a certain limit because of the self-imposed scholarships. But I think they are going to get close to that 85. I think they're looking for a cornerback. They're looking for a pass rusher. They're looking for an offensive lineman.
Trying to get
they can find a receiver. Yeah. So there are a lot of folks out there that they're going to try to pursue. And I don't know how many they're going to bring in and say, hey, we need this guy for depth. I think they will try to focus more on somebody that come in that they think can start. But I think they will get closer to that 85.
Okay. Everybody agree with that? That it looks like they're going to get close to the 85 this time. All right. So that should shape our second answer, which is, have they maximized the transfer portal?
Negative.
Right. If you're not going to self-impose more limitations, then you haven't hit in the portal the way you wanted to. You were after an offensive lineman from Vanderbilt who wound up going to Alabama. You've lost the wide receiver from Wyoming who you thought you had, and then Texas came back with a little better offer.
Well,
their collective beat Tennessee's collective.
Here's what I'd say, John. If you're competing in the SEC, you never want to be behind Vanderbilt on any list. Isn't that a given? I mean, that's what I wrote down. Don't be behind Vandy. So that's what my answer is on that.
Okay. They haven't maximized.
No, and you actually pointed out a good point. Part of it is that 5, I mean, some of those are preferred walk-ons. They're never even going to see the field.
I mean, he's Schuler's son, Navy right. Schuler, who transferred in.
Yeah, there's a couple others that won't.
I'm just using that as an example.
Right, no, but I'm saying that's part of what you've done is not going to make an impact to this point. And then to David's point, what is there available for you to get? They're going after guys. They'd like to get close to the 85, but will you be able to bring in those difference makers at this point? So they're not going to catch up to a lot of the rest of the league.
And while I agree with you that they're probably looking for starters for some of those positions, boy, at the cornerback, just get bodies. If it's me, I am filling it up for depth at that point because you just don't have bodies.
I think one thing is interesting. I was talking to Eli Drinkwitz at Mizzou a while back, and he was talking about one of the things he does is one of the reasons they're so heavy on out-of-state or in-state guys, even if they lose them. Well, if a guy leaves university, wherever he goes, where is he going to come 9 times out of 10? He's coming back home, more than likely. Well, you lost a bunch of guys from the 2022 class. You keep building those relationships in those high schools and doing those kind of things. if you lose these in-state guys initially with the free transfer rule, that's a way to win the transfer portal and do your work on the front end so that you're paid off on the back end.
Well, Tennessee's getting one of those guys from what? Georgia Tech? That's a Middle Tennessee kid that went to Georgia Tech and is now coming back to Knoxville.
One from Nebraska.
Yeah.
Was it not Nebraska or Georgia Tech that
I think it was Georgia Tech. Jackson Hanna, the linebacker, but he's a preferred walk-on. I'm pretty
Right.
sure.
Yeah. But he's a
they've got
transfer.
two of them.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess what we're saying is that number doesn't look great right now. They're trying to improve that number, but you're kind of picking at a carcass where the vultures have already been there. Do we think they're going to be able to maximize the portal in this go-around?
You mentioned earlier about how will Tennessee have some folks that leave by May 1st.
Right.
There may be some in the portal that leave by May 1st. Now, who will that be? I don't know. But you may be able to pick up a couple of them that might be pretty decent players. You don't know, but you got a few weeks for that to happen.
And the other thing to keep in mind, though, is at this point, no SEC kids are coming in here. Yeah. And you can't move within the conference at this point if you're announcing at this point.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we do a portal rankings of the best available guys. There's like a handful of guys who might be impact players. Obviously, you're already kind of out of it, but like Amarius Mims, you're not going to get in that mix, which for a lot of reasons. The Brew McCoy situation in there, but like O'Shawn Mathis, some of these guys, like, there's just not very many guys that you can say this guy is going to have a positive impact on our team probably immediately. That's just not what you're going to have. So we'll see. I mean, it's tough. December is the time to do the work in the portal.
Is it a disappointment then? I think Josh Heupel's done a great job. Nobody's perfect. Would that be the first ding on the Josh Heupel performance so far? The fact that they weren't able to capitalize in the portal this year after having a pretty good year, after having a pretty good signing class, they weren't able to capitalize in the portal. Is that a negative?
I guess a lot of fans would be wanting to know how much emphasis is Tennessee placing on this? Are they like Florida where they have somebody directly responsible? Is Tennessee making? Then I want to know, then you're not doing a good enough job.
I give them a little bit of a pass because of the self-imposed scholarship.
Yeah, the scholarship stuff made like you're trying to figure out what you're going to do there, and it wasn't like they're chasing a ton of guys and losing. They did have some high-profile losses. Obviously, Isaiah Nair, the biggest there. But I think it's one thing if you're chasing a dozen guys in the portal, you don't get them,
right.
Especially if they're SEC starters like Ole Miss and LSU. Some of those guys they got are unbelievable. So I would say sort of a C+, I guess, just because you were trying to recruit more than you were trying to get in the portal, and you didn't have a ton of portal misses. So
very good.
Yeah, it's not a failure, but it's something that they haven't, to your point, to your question, maximized. And you could spin it and say, well, they didn't, maybe they felt like they were good at some positions. I think you could still get some help, obviously.
If it happens next year, it's a failure.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
That's why we ask the questions. All I am is I think sometimes I get looks like, oh, I don't want to disagree with them. I'm not saying it was okay. I'm trying to facilitate answers. So it's a point guard. Take it and shoot. And Chuck, when I give you the ball, shoot the goal I'm asking you to shoot. When we come back, let's talk about Tennessee's football schedule. What will be the most important month in the Vols schedule in the year ahead? Come on back, we'll show you.